Hey everyone! Today I'll be introducing two pens, and in some ways I'm going to do a pen battle, which will be pretty fun. So these are two pens made by Pilot, and they're at two very different price points. So you can take a look and see which one might be right for you. So just by looking at them, this is the Pilot Metropolitan. It's around $20. This is the Pilot Vanishing Point, and it's about $150. You can tell they both have a pen clip. So similar type of look, which is nice. So the pen's not going to roll away. This has a cap. So let me show you. The Pilot Metropolitan has a cap. This is the nib. It's a medium-sized nib that I'm comparing with. This is actually a pen that I borrowed. And if you open it up, it has a squeeze converter. So you kind of squish this and the ink draws up. Feels pretty solid in the hand. And then, let's see here. This is a Pilot Vanishing Point Decimo. So the Pilot Vanishing Point, the original, it's a little bit larger and wider. This is the Decimo, so it's lighter, it's a little bit slimmer. This is in the icy blue color. And the cool part, or probably why it's called Vanishing Point, is press it in and it pops out the nib, and then you can press it back out and it closes it. So you don't have to worry about forgetting your cap and then it's not starting, things like that. You can open it here. And you can see here it has a Con 40 converter. So Con 40 means it can draw up about 0.4 milliliters of ink. So you kind of twist it all the way down the piston, and then you kind of draw up the ink and then you twist it all the way back up. So let me put that back on. Okay, looks pretty good. So I will be using two different inks. This is the Pilot Decimo is going to be using the Shikiori ink, which is in the Miruai dark green-black color. And the Pilot Metropolitan is going to be using the Parker Quink ink, which is a very deep, solid black. And I think, you know, it's fun to experiment with different fountain pens and different nib sizes, so you can try out different widths. The Decimo I'm going to be trying is actually going to be in the extra fine nib. And since the Pilot Metropolitan's in a medium, it's not quite a direct comparison, right? Ideally, you would want same ink, same nib to really compare for handwriting and how it feels. But this is something I thought just would be fun if you're experimenting or you just want to see what it looks like. So this is the Decimo. You can tell it's very thin. So it has a bit of feedback, and that's something I knew going into it, but I really wanted an extra fine nib just because I'm used to pens that are 0.38 or lower. Sometimes when I use 0.5 or 0.7, my handwriting, I can't sometimes separate the letters too clearly if I'm writing very quickly, which I tend to do if I'm doing long form writing. So this is really thin, really thin. It's in the extra fine, which is actually, let me write that down. So extra fine is 0.3. And then I'll do a swirl so you could see if there's any line variation. It's pretty solid. I don't think there's much line variation, so it's not really for calligraphy or things like that. And then I'll do vertical lines so you can see how that looks, and then see how solid the horizontal lines look. It looks pretty good, actually. And then I'll do just a quick smear test. I mean, it's pretty thin, just the line, so there's not much ink to smear, but that's good to know. And then if you use highlighters, I'm not sure how many people highlight over a fountain pen, but let's see. Highlight. I will choose something a bit darker just in case. So it smears a little bit, but nothing too crazy, right? nothing that I would just be like, oh my gosh, I can't read it. I think if I waited another 5 minutes and then started highlighting, I think it would have been a lot less. So this is overall a great feel in the hand. It has this clip which kind of guides your writing. Like I guess you could put it here to make sure it's facing upwards, the nib. And then, yeah, I mean, it looks really solid. It feels good in the hand. I definitely recommend this for people who have smaller hands or they don't like to lift very heavy pens. This is a great size. It's highly recommended by a lot of people who kind of take pens on the go, or like they work in a setting where they want to just retractable clip it real quick. And you have the Pilot 14K gold nib. So the gold nib supposedly is smoother. I'm not super deep into the fountain pen world to know exactly how to tell the difference between a gold and steel nib. Like if you blindfolded me, I don't think I could tell the difference yet, but some people really like it who are really deep into the hobby. So this is the Decimo. I really love how it feels. It looks beautiful. It's this shimmery, light, icy blue, which is a beautiful color. Pilot Japan. It comes with a 1-year warranty when you buy it, which is really nice. I've heard their customer service is not too bad if you do have an issue and you email them with that. So, and then we have the Pilot Metropolitan. So the Pilot Metropolitan, highly recommended for starters. It's immediately, you can tell the nib is much larger. I mean, this looks like a needle micro point next to it. So it's much, much larger. This is a medium-sized nib. And then I'm gonna see how it feels. I do think it has a more specific sweet spot. So I have to hold it at a certain angle. And it's much thicker too. Okay. Let me do it feels very nice. It's very smooth, but it doesn't feel quite as seamless. And it might be because it doesn't feel weighted that properly. I did have it posted for a second and it feels quite long and it's a little bit heavy in the back. So let me try writing without having it posted. So a medium nib is a 0.7. So people are pretty familiar with 0.7 pens. They're very popular in the US. Let's see. Of course, the smear tests will differ depending on the inks and of course the width, because this is much larger, so it has more ink to smear. And then I feel like the highlight will be quite smear-like as well. So I might wait a little bit just to give it some time, especially after that. So overall, I think this is a great fountain pen for those who are starting out and you wanted to try it, but you're not quite sure of how much to invest into a fountain pen. And the Pilot Decimo, I mean, it's super sleek and light. So if you have larger, or at least maybe just average size hands, I think this is a great pen because it feels expensive. I would actually place this maybe around the $40 to $50 mark because it does feel hefty, it feels expensive, but I do feel like it's not quite balanced. And that, I mean, fountain pens are really individual, so it depends on every person's hands, what ink you're using, how much ink, like all those things. But for me, it doesn't feel super comfortable for long form writing. And there is like a little bit of a hard start, only for a few seconds. So let's do a reverse. Ooh, the reverse is actually really nice. Yeah, the reverse is pretty good actually. I didn't do reverse up for the Decimo, so let me try that real quick. It's barely writing. It's probably too thin, but it's barely writing. Yeah, I think, you know, you can be a little bit more firm using the Metropolitan, which I think is nice. Overall, I think the pros for here are the price. And feels more expensive. Feels more expensive. And then, yeah, I would say the con, there's a little bit of a hard start, and I don't really like the squeeze converter. Yeah, because just seems a little bit messier because you're like squeezing ink straight in there. I would say the con is the squeeze converter. But it comes in lots of color choices, and it's pretty smooth. At least in the medium. I don't know about fine or extra fine because I don't have those to try. So I will write a smooth in the medium, and yeah, it seems nice. I think the cap when posted is too heavy. Okay. I would say the pros of the Vanishing point is how beautiful it is. Pros of Vanishing point. Sleek. And I think I like the clip. It kind of feels like a nice placement almost. So nice clip placement, but that could be a con for other people. I would say this is smooth for an extra fine. It's not going to be as smooth if it was in medium or even as smooth as the Metropolitan in a medium, but it is smooth for an extra fine. It has feedback, so you can hear it. It sounds like I'm writing on paper. You can hear it. Some people don't like this in an extra fine, but I like extra fine pens in general, so that's why I went for an extra fine. So it's a con. Feedback. You can hear it. I like the sound of hearing what I'm writing, but some people you might want to feel like, oh, I'm writing on glass almost. So there is feedback. I would say the price is kind of high. I feel like this pen might be, I feel like it should be around maybe 110, 100 to 110. The price is a bit high. But it is very innovative. The nib and retractable is very, very innovative. So I really like that. And it doesn't really lose its ink because you kind of just like press it right back in there, which is really cool. Yeah, it feels very sturdy, built. I think both of these are plastic. So yeah, it looks similar in some ways. It has the classic Pilot look. You can tell that, you know, the clip is nice, that's not gonna roll away. I can try it on another sheet of paper just to give you another viewpoint. I will use my Take a Note notebook, my Take a Note planner. My Take a Note planner is actually using 52 GSM Tomoe River paper, which is very popular amongst fountain pen users. Metropolitan. And then I'll write here on my Decimo. And different inks on different papers are going to react differently too. So this is actually a dark green color, which I can barely even see because it's so thin. But now when I space it out, you can see it. So there you have it. I think it's nice to try different pens and different price points, see what you're interested in before you want to go further into the hobby or buying nicer pens. And these are both really popular, really recommended for anyone who's trying to expand their pen collection. I like both of them. I think I like the Decimo a little bit more because it's weighted better for my hand, and I like the finer nib and how smooth an extra fine nib feels. I think my next pen will probably be a fine nib pen. I'm looking into several options. I'm probably going to go with maybe a sailor pen, another pilot pen, or maybe even platinum. I think I prefer the Japanese pens. TWSBI's on my list as well, so we'll see what I go with next, but for now I'm really happy with an extra fine Vanishing Point Decimo, and really happy I got to try this for my neighbor as well, so I can show everyone the difference. So thanks everyone for watching, and I'll see you next time.